Hello, everybody. I uh, I decided to make another video that was like a disclaimer or in in a in a chat video before I release a bunch of other videos that went out. And the idea was that instead of just like rolling out some kind of huge uh, epic attack video. I could do a video that would explain more about, I guess, how to make characters or how to make things that would work inside the game. Uh, Last night, I actually rolled up a First Life Cleric, and I tried to do a walkthrough on how to do it, but then I realized, well, not everybody's going to want to play that cleric. So I sort of had to do a restart uh, on what I was gonna do with making videos. So if you're not bored to death and you'd like to learn a little bit about the game or what to do, I'm gonna make this series, I guess, from here on. Now, my guildies in a different guild have been asking a bunch about uh, all the characters that I make to do a rundown at level 20 and at level 30, just because they wanted to see what I was doing or what I was into. And then I realized, well, I was mostly ramming through the game uh, with characters that I liked playing and building things that were, sort of out of the norm. But that doesn't mean that somebody starting out the game couldn't just go, build whatever they want. They call it, or they used to call it DDO Unlimited, meaning you would have a way to build any class and any race and be successful. So at that time, I was really doing a lot of uh, undead builds in the game, like Pale Masters and mixing them with other things. But now Dungeons and Dragons Online has come up with a new difficulty setting called Reaper. And so that has made those sorts of classes almost impossible to play unless you're with the whole group of Pale Masters or vampires or zombies, a group of 6 or 12. So for this for this thing, we're not going to stay and chat about the undead side. We're going to talk about the living side. And this is what characters primarily play on those harder difficulties. Just because they can all heal each other reasonably well. And I'm not going to delve into all that, the light and the dark side of DDO, but what I am going to do is start chatting about how I view it. And this is because my view of the game, I think, has a big sort of reflection on the characters that I make. Now, DDO has 14 classes, and this class is a bard, and a mix of sorcerer 8. I only I only play either casters or melee characters. Caster, primarily is going to be it's going to be like a spell user, either to hold monsters in the game or do damage at long range with spells, or or be a healer for the group primarily. And I just personally got turned off by playing ranged projectile users. So it's just not how I'm wired. And I guess that's sort of the part of the disclaimer that I wanted to write. It's either I'm all in on frontline action, or I'm standing back healing people, or I'm standing back dealing damage with spells. And that's how I work. If you want, as an individual, to learn about the projectile based ranged attack users, I am not your guy. So, like, quit watching the video right now. Leave the party anonymously. The other disclaimer is, in this game, you might not have the same gear as me. You might not have the same ideas as me. You might not have the same outlook on the game as me. And I am not on the side of, uh, you know, downgrading your techniques or anything like that. All the tunes might not be the same, but please don't copy it. Use your own ideas to make the things that you want to do. Like, if you wanted to build like a pirate slasher or something like that, go for your ideas and don't follow what everybody says. Maybe take some insights from it and then move on. That's the only intention of my vehicle, or of my video. Excuse me. So, starting out on this character, this has just started out as a bard sorcerer mix. And the main stat for both those two classes is charisma. So I believe I maxed that out right at level. Started that at a 18, 20 for Joe maybe. I don't even know what is it. It says base 26. Can't even figure that out. Constitution also got started at 14. There's a base score there. Strength was nothing. 10. What? Dex 10 with the tome. Wisdom 8. Anytime you make a character in DDO, you want to stick with the two primaries, or things that I would call primary. Constitution, it's for your hit points. This one only started at 14, but has a +3 tome. And then the charisma was the maximum thing that you needed for, or the thing the other stat that you needed to boost your spells. Now, it's different if you play on like a melee. Melee might is a lot of con and probably strength or dex if you're dex based melee, or wisdom it can be too. It can also be charisma for certain classes. I don't feel that that's It's not relevant until I tried to do a class build and did a walkthrough on it. It's very tough. For me, this is what I need. Now, in this in this sort of or on this character, I I started this out as a sort of group playing Bard, and it was mostly to just do spells for guildies and stuff, cures, and the rest of the buffs associated with um, what's called the spell singer bard. It wasn't even gonna do any melee at all. It was just gonna sort of help out be sixth man. If I can find the enhancements page now. I also recently purchased a brand new 34-inch wide LG screen so you can see all my hotbars are not spaced correctly right now. And what this is in it is the spell singer tree, and it's to boost spell power for other players in our group, and also has a heal song for everybody in the group. And notice that I did not, I'm not a, can't be a solo player on this one. It's only a first lifer. Unfortunately, I start out as a champion build. It's just a champion 32 or Dro 28 point build. So on this character, knowing that I was not going to be able to really get any of the DC checks up, I mostly went just to go help others. The spell song, sustaining song, helps all of the living characters get hit points back. 24 seconds plus, 6 seconds per bard level. And then I worked on the rest of the musical studies and everything, and took this to the fifth tier here, the Spell Singer Bard. No points dumped into the racial enhancement. The War Chanter and the Swashbuckler were the other two options. I think I only took one thing here. It's one Skeldic Constitution to start out that War Chanter thing. Next, I went into the Air Savant Sork, and this was because if you read the Air Savant tiers on the bottom, they add to electric and sonic spell power, which is a primary spell power type for the bard. And I think that's where the rest of my points went right there. 57, no, 52, 27, and 79. Last point is right here. Right there, too, for a first life racial thing or something I got when they introduced the racial trees. Just got spell resistance from it. Now, the opposite of this is not maxing out this top tier and then going into these here for more output on electrical spell power. But I knew that as a first life, I probably wasn't going to be that great of a damage dealer anyway. Uh, and again, just focusing in on trying to play with the group, maybe doing Reaper 1 or 2. And you never really had to be a part of uh, full frontal action. Like you didn't even have to use all the spells and everything that were associated with being a bard to deal damage. Damage caused aggro. So it's something you don't want if you're doing those higher difficulty levels. Again, just specking the first lifer to go play. No, I'm level 25. Everything is under what it should be to be doing those difficulties levels. But what you're doing is staying out of trouble and healing or boosting the spell power of the people around you. Now, I'm gonna log out just so we can get a glimpse at the other characters and stick with the theme. Stick with the theme of teaching. If it logs out, sometime today. Jeez, it took 3 tries. Now, on this server and all servers, I have a ton of characters, right? So instead of worrying about uh, instead of worrying about trying to excel at I guess in the game with your main character, my whole focus was go go chase after lofty goals with your main character. Try to get all the TRs done. Try to get everything done that you can possibly do. But then on every other one, it was only build characters to do certain tasks. So instead of the worry about your second character or your third is is trying to get racial TR done or epic TR or whatever else, they only were built to do second, just one specific task in the game. And it's probably the same philosophy that I would take if I rolled a bard tomorrow, or a cleric, or a fighter. It would be if if this is going to be a melee character, it's going to do melee and it's going to excel at that. That's it. Focus. Its defense probably isn't going to be that great. There's no way that you're not going to get hit by something, and you'll probably have to play with a healer. But you have the ability to go kill stuff. The rogue. If I made a rogue tomorrow morning, I would make an assassin first life because it could still kill something, but it was still going to excel at traps. It would be a trapper. If somebody had a need for a trapper to go in, disable traps so nobody else dies, that's what its sort of primary would be. On on some of these guys that are running around here on their characters on DDO on Kyber right now, they got characters that are so jacked up from their past life that they'll probably excel at two or three different things. So don't get frustrated by it. It's just because they put all that time into their main character and gear and past lives that they have the ability to do other things. But as a starter, I would just specifically purpose it to be a group player that was good at one thing. Healer, healer would heal. Don't even worry about trying to go kill something. Just stick with the heals. Make the melee or the whatever else go and annihilate stuff for you. If you jumped in on that boat, if you are a ranged artificer or ranger or a bow user, focus in on being a killer. Try to do everything that you can to annihilate things because somebody else on their first life would probably roll a healer for you and somebody else would roll a trapper. It's sort of like the disclaimer about how I view it. I don't uh, I don't predominantly make characters that are gonna go solo by themselves because I just don't find that the game is that much fun as is. And this is my main. Right now I'm working on a fighter 8 monk monk 5 build. I haven't decided yet if I was gonna go 12 fighter or monk 8. Multi-classing without a lot of racial past life, you don't get enough. You never seem to get enough enhancement points. I mean, and there's always something now. Don't get intimidated by it. But I don't. I've never had a recommendation of doing a triple now because there's so many things out there that it's hard to it's hard to justify putting 10 points into one tree as a triple classer. But hey, like I said, it's still DDO unlimited to me. So anyway, that's my rundown and my short tour before I start showing videos of what classes I'm gonna do and what I'm going to build specifically or what I would do. And don't, you know, don't don't be afraid to think outside the box, even though nobody's doing it. That's my advice. Thank you.